Welcome back to part 2 of my watch collection. First up, the HMOSER. This is a bit of a grail for me. Any watch collector that finally gets around to picking up their first independent is a great moment. Don't regret it at all. Just come back from service a few days ago. Wine's lovely. You just about catch the blue hands. Most of the time they look black, but every now and again they hit the light and they're beautiful. These are so well made. They look so simple, but look at the depth of that dial, the cutout. I mean, look at that dome crystal. Now you don't get a thin profile. I think it's about 13 centimeters, but I think it's worth it just for that crystal. And this is the great thing about these watches. They look simple, but the details on them, I mean, the side, don't have to do that. Polished and brushed. It's so this is the most comfortable watch on the wrist ever. And of course, the display case back. Very well made. 39mm, but wears really nice. White gold. Beautiful watch. Next up, the VACHERON Constantine Overseas. Now this is an excellent all-round watch. In fact, the only watch you will ever need. A lot of people say that about the sub, the Rolex Submariner, but I believe this is a lot better. In fact, I traded my sub for this. I mean, it's only 10mm thick. It's 150 meters water resistant, anti-magnetic. I mean, it's got an integrated bracelet that's finished very well. I don't know if you can see in between those links, but very well. And even the clasp, the Maltese cross, and even on the pushers the design follows through. I prefer the Generation 2 over the Generation 3 because you've got like a plinth here. I think that ruins it for me. Plus it's not a bad dial either. Bit of texture, and even the case back on this. Look how many different finishes there are. Absolutely stunning all-round watch. 42mm, but it fit well on most wrists. The Rolex Yachtmaster in gold. No watch puts a bigger smile on my face than putting this on and getting this out of the watch box. I mean, because it's gold, it's got a bit of weight to it. It just feels solid end links. This is a 1993 watch. I mean, and people say gold doesn't hold up well. I wear this quite often, and I have 7 dogs, so although there's a few light scratches, because I wear my watches, I don't baby them. Yeah, it's actually held up pretty well. I mean, there's not a lot else to say about this. Bezel moves both ways. Tritium dial. The clasp is the old one, just a stamped clasp. But it does the job, solid enough. All round, a great watch to wear in the summer, especially with that white dial. The third and final Panerai in my collection. PAM 87 La Bomba. This is a big old boy, but it's actually quite comfortable on the wrist. It's 44mm, but as you can see, it's quite deep. But that's because it's a 1000 meters water resistant, and that bezel click, love it. It's got an ETA 7750 in here, which is normally a chronograph movement, but I like the fact they've turned it into just a three-hander with date. And I like the way Panerai do the magnification as well. It's under the glass. And this is also, although this is a 2004 watch I believe, I have to double check that, it's still got the tritium dial. A lot of these models have been changed out. There's been 2,000 of the PAM 87 made, but after the first 1,000 they changed the dial to this one. So there's 2,000 made, 1,000 of each dial. So not many of these about, and I think it works well on an orange strap. You can just about see, it's hard to see indoors, but the dial goes royal blue outside, almost black inside. Now this is my dad's Amiga Speedmaster automatic. Now it looks like the Moon watch, but it's only 38mm and automatic rather than the Hound Wound Professional. Now this is why I warn people off buying cheaper watches, because this actually doesn't really work. If you shake it, it will run, but you wind it, you can hear there's a bit of a grind in there, it needs fixing. Also you can stop the chronograph, but you can't reset it. Because this is quite an awkward movement to work on as well, it's not cheap to service. In fact, it's going to cost more to service this watch than it would to service this watch. So sometimes it's worth bearing in mind the complication and the movement. You know, a service on this would be, with Rolex, £500. You probably get it done for £250 private. But because this is quite a complex chronograph movement, or because it's a modular one, you can see that because the crown's below the pushers, so it's two movements stacked on. It's actually a pain in the arse, I've heard, to service these. So I think you're looking at least £450, which, considering the watch is probably only worth £1,700 max if it's serviced, probably. It's a big chunk of your profit gone. But it's alright, you know, it gives you the professional Speedmaster look for a bit cheaper, with the practicality of being automatic. But I'm a professional fan, you know, it's alright. I'd never wear it. The last watch I'm going to be showing you, the Rolex Daytona. Now, this isn't a normal dial, as you probably are aware. Normally it's like black with silver or white with silver on this model, but you've got the racing dial here, which, along with the triangles on the bezel, tells you it's white gold. So it's got a nice bit of weight, and steel looks like steel, but there is a slight colour difference. When you've got it next to a steel watch, it's a darker grey. I don't know how much the camera's bringing that up, but it's definitely a different shade. Now you're going to see some scrapes on this. I wear my watches, I'm not too worried about the odd bump. They get polished. It's actually a really nice watch. And what a lot of people don't know is the white gold Daytona is actually bigger than the steel and the two-tone. If you look it up, it's 1mm bigger, this case, which you don't think sounds a lot, but with the extra weight, wears a lot bigger. I can't stand the steel Daytona, if I'm honest. I think it wears far too small, but this, although it's only a mil, but with the weight and the lug profile, it's just about perfect. And that red just pops when you get it in the right light. I believe this, well, for me, this is the best Daytona or best Rolex ever made. Sports Rolex with a racing dial, black and red. It's as good as you get. Quite slim, you know. It's a Rolex bracelet, so it's solid. You get the easy link, which is nice to have. You know, everyone's aware of these clasps. They're really well made. That's the good thing with Rolex, you can't really go wrong. They are well made watches. Thank you for watching part 2 of my watch collection. If you missed part 1, I will link it in the description or put it at the end of this video to autoplay. Now I hope you enjoyed my collection and enjoyed the watches I showed you. Now I am planning on changing a little. I'm not sure whether I'm going to add more or maybe sell a few, maybe sell 3 to get 1. I'm not too sure. I feel my watch collection is missing a calendar complication of some description, or maybe a different shaped case like a reverso. If you've got any good ideas of what you might do with my collection or what I should do, please leave them down in the comments, because I'm always interested to hear other collectors' ideas. I know it's the second video as well in 1 week. I'm hoping to put out a few more videos, so stay tuned and let's see where my collection goes this year. Thanks for watching.